Well, thank goodness for this news. New tools to fight something all of us hate: mosquitoes.
This afternoon, the Harris County Office of Emergency Management gave us a look at technology that can help us battle those bugs. Jessica Borg was there for the update. Jessica, this development is especially important in the fight against Zika and West Nile.
Yes, two of the mosquito-borne illnesses that have become more prevalent in recent years. The county health department just kicking off their new mosquito control campaign. They say now that the warmer weather is here, the perfect breeding conditions for these mosquitoes have arrived. Harris County home to about 56 different types of mosquitoes. Now, at a press conference just a short time ago, officials showed off their new technology and traps that they are using. Nearly 500 traps at 268 sites around the county. They're continuing to partner with Microsoft Research using high-tech traps with infrared technology that can determine when a Zika mosquito has been caught or a West Nile virus mosquito has been caught based on the flaps of their wings. Now, it can also determine the precise time these mosquitoes have been captured. There's also a brand new interactive mobile mosquito and vector control unit that they are very excited about. These will go out into the community and educate people about mosquito-borne illnesses.
Over the last several years, we know with dengue, chikungunya, and obviously Zika, that the daytime mosquito, the Aedes mosquito, increasingly has also been a real issue across the country.
Now, the health department's campaign is called Prevent the Bite Day and Night. They say the public must do its part to prevent the spread of these diseases by removing standing water on their property, typically in planters, toys, pails, and tires, and by wearing mosquito repellent. They also want to stress if someone has flu-like symptoms and they have been bitten by a mosquito, get to a doctor and be tested for these mosquito-borne illnesses right away. We are live this afternoon in West Houston. Jessica Borg, KHOU 11 News. Mia?
With 56 different types of mosquitoes, you can't take any risk. Jessica, thanks so much.
All right, we've got